We have a society that has been sold that lies aren't just acceptable, but that lies are good. And so let your children play with toys that are made out of lead paint. Go ahead and eat human food, not just dog food now that has plastic and toxins and poisons in it. Go ahead and buy a shovel that breaks the first time you use it, as long as it's cheap and has pretty paint on it, it's okay. See, we all lie to ourselves. We've been mesmerized, hypnotized, conditioned, trained to accept lies and accept corruption. And Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propagandist, the chief Nazi propagandist, said that good propaganda was base, was raw, was primitive. It just spoke to our own laziness, that it spoke to people's will to procrastinate and deny things are happening. We have hundreds of publications made by the Council on Foreign Relations about how they were going to break down the sovereignty of the United States and deliver us into the hands of absolute despotism. We have David Rockefeller in his memoirs published 4 years ago saying it. We have him publishing editorials praising Mao Zedong's extermination operations in the New York Times in 1976. We have thousands of these documents. I mean, I'm swimming in them. And you walk up to the average know-it-all trendy on the street, and they've got a high IQ, they're doing well in business, and they'll laugh at you and they'll say, I've been trained not to care. Some of them will actually say that, just as Orwell wrote about 1984, and they'll giggle and they'll snicker. And they'll say, I've been trained vaccines are good. I give the injection. I've been trained lead paint is good for children. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, it's just and then you go down into the other classes, from the New World Order minion level down into just the baseline population who distrusts the government and the media but doesn't know why they distrust them. I mean, here's an example. You see, there's thousands of points in this. I don't hate sports. I played football and track and soccer and all that stuff. But by the time I was about 16, I was very sickened by people worshiping the first-string football players, which I was a first-string football player. I was very sickened by how mindless it was, and I just, my very bones knew that it was petty and transitory and didn't matter. So I got out of it and got away from it as quickly as possible. And this is why I don't like it. The average child watches 4.5 hours of television or more a day. The average adult more than 4 hours. Our society's falling apart. We have a greater private debt ratio than even in the depths of the Great Depression. Every major indices of a society crumbling is showing that and registering that. And I know people that when the University of Texas loses a football game, they're depressed for weeks. I mean, I see more concern on their faces than when they hear their grandmother has cancer, because they've had their humanity sucked out of them. Or maybe they never even had it. They were bred by parents who didn't have much soul, who were plastic, fake people. And I know quite a few nice people that I am around routinely who invest so much importance in sports or in things at the end of the day, NASCAR, their fake little church with their little pervert preacher, in driving his pimp mobile, that you never truly live, you never truly grow. You have been robbed of everything. And that's all I'm trying to say to you, is you better look around and you better ask yourself what's happening in the world. You better look at what's happening in your own life. And you need to take at least 10% of the time that you spend worshiping through others, worshiping at the altar of idols that aren't going to save you and aren't going to help you and aren't going to fulfill you. That's why you're on Prozac and Ritalin. That's why you're so miserable. It's why your family's so miserable. That's why you feel so weak. It's because you're not fulfilled. You don't have real missions in life. Let me tell you something. when you get that gleam in your eye of mad passion, when you feel that primitive spark, that drive in you, when you watch your football team or your baseball team make a score, that is only a shadow, a facsimile, a prosthesis, but it doesn't even help you walk, for something there that is meant for you to create real community and real friendship and real struggle. It's all part of human development. It is gladiatorial diversions. It is simulated combat. And so it takes the greatest energies we have as men and women in the short life that we are given, and it puts it off and shunts it off into things that don't matter, issues that don't matter. I assure you that the Dallas Cowboys winning or losing, or Florida State winning or losing, doesn't amount to a hill of beans. That your fantasy football doesn't matter. What does matter is that a very sinister, very cold-blooded, scientific elite is in control. And they have already, by open declarative announcement, destroyed over 62% of the greenback's value and are savagely trumpeting their intentions to bring it down by at least another 25% in the next 2 years. Devastating your savings. Now, again, over 2,000 years ago, state planners wrote about building more coliseums, more ball fields, more government-sponsored sports, so you wouldn't notice the debasing of your currency, so you wouldn't notice the corruption of the courts, so you wouldn't notice the disgusting activity in the streets, so you wouldn't notice. And that's all I'm saying, is that it isn't just that it wastes your life away, it's that it's meant to, it's designed to. Take the University of Texas, over $40 billion in their permanent fund. That is separate. That's not for pensions. That's not for new buildings. That's separate from the budget. $40 billion. And you better believe the University of Texas only cares about that, and that the people that run the board of directors, sitting in their gold-backed gilded chairs, are thinking about their investments and thinking about the operations they're running. They are not thinking about Bevo. You, the pathetic slaves, are. But see, Bill Clinton will sit there and listen to you and tell you you're smart and tell you you're sweet while he stabs you in the back. I will desperately, like a fireman coming in a house, and some slovenly person won't get off their couch as the place is burning down, and I say, get up, get out of here, run for your life, it's about to cave in. And with drool dripping out your mouth, you look at me and go, Bevo. Yeah, you're so upset out there right now because you've been brainwashed and programmed. You're not mad about your dollar. You're not mad about your children having a future. You're mad about me striking out at Bevo, your God, your King, your Lord. By the way, I like football and actually like Bevo. People in other parts of the country and the world listening on satellite and things are probably saying, and on AM and FM dial and things are saying, what is he talking about, Bevo? It's the local UT God. And people don't care if the UT regents are investing the money in comprehensive annual financial reports, double sets of books. I mean, that doesn't really matter. As long as there's a bigger stadium, everything's fine. Double all the different tuitions and prices and everything. Just continue squeezing everyone at a supposedly state-funded institution that was supposed to be free to the Texans. They don't know that as long as we give them Bevo. That's all they care about. That's what I'm saying. Get into real issues. You can have compartmentalized in your life mindless things. I'm not saying I don't like a ball game, but I basically desecrated the idol because we need to desecrate and throw down the things that don't matter and start building up the things that do.